What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and break down what's happening with the economic calendar thus far, which you should be watching for as time progresses, and some very important levels moving forward. But before I break anything down all this information, before I talk about what's going on with the markets, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, looking at SPY, we have a very nice looking bullish wedge that formed right over here. We actually held support very nicely, and we got a nice breakout. We actually broke above this 489 resistance. I told you if we broke this, expect 490. If we broke 490, we could get very close to 492. We came just short of 492 today, but overall, we're still looking, in my opinion, like really, really strong, really bullish, if anything like that. So the question is, how are we going to move going forward? Are we going to continue to pump very nicely? What are some very important levels to be watching for what's happening for tomorrow? I'll be talking about all of that in this video. So for tomorrow, it's going to be Tuesday, January 30th, 2024. Please know we have quite a bit of data coming out in the morning. Most of it is very insignificant except for the job openings report. Let me talk about this. So at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 30 minutes before the market opens, we have the house price index report, the house price month over month, and the house prices year over year. The index report is also coming out. We're going to be watching this very carefully because this is very important for us to understand inflationary data and how housing is going to affect that. So watch for volatility at that time. It's going to be during the pre-market. We'll see this like in my early morning video. And then don't forget that the most important piece of data comes out at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the JOLTS job openings reports coming out. We want this to be at 8.7 to 8.75 million. We also have consumer confidence at 10 a.m. and the JOLTS job quits data all coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. But this is going to be the most important, the JOLTS job openings. You guys can see this is kind of highlighted a different color right here. This is going to be the most important. Make sure you watch that very carefully. Besides this, that's 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, an hour after the market opens. We have the Dallas Fed Services Index, the Services Revenue Index, and all this data coming out. There might be some volatility at that time as well, probably nothing too crazy. The most important time for data is going to be 10 a.m. Make sure you watch for volatility at that time, anyways. Now, besides that, when it comes to the way the market is moving, make sure you watch our big earnings for tomorrow. Right now, we have Super Micro coming out, some very minor earnings for the time being, but tomorrow is Tuesday. We have big earnings. First, we have Pfizer, GM, UPS, JetBlue, and just a couple of others in the morning. And then after the market closes, we have Microsoft, AMD, Google, aka Alphabet, and then Starbucks all coming out. This is going to be massive. The biggest one, in my opinion, is going to be Microsoft alongside Google. So make sure you watch these very, very carefully. Big earnings are going to be coming out, and this is going to be a make or break for the market rally that we're seeing. Will this help the market pump more? Is it going to cause a dump? I'll be talking more about that tomorrow. Then for Wednesday, don't forget, we have some earnings, but that's also going to be the FOMC day. We have Jerome Powell giving a speech. We're going to find out what the Fed does with interest rates, and it's going to be very important. For Thursday, we have Apple, Amazon, and Meta also announcing their earnings. That's going to be very important as well. So we'll have to see how this ends up going. Now, besides this, when you look at the fear and greed index, this is currently at extreme greed. The market is super greedy. The market is expecting all these buyers to just continue to step in. They're buying, they're buying, they're buying. People are getting excited. And this doesn't mean the market has to fall tomorrow, but this means generally when the market's in a near topping process, that's when we tend to enter these positions. I don't think the market's ready to top yet. We likely have more steam left, but we are at extremes, so be a little bit careful when trying to play it. I would say that this suggests it's very important to take profits. Don't just hold, and just expect everything to just keep going higher forever. Be very careful when the market's at these levels. Now, the market's at extreme greed right now, once again, in terms of momentum. And we're also seeing similar things when it comes to the puts and call positioning. We're still seeing a lot of those puts being closed, causing buyers to step in. That's why we have the ratio continuing to drop. And the VIX is still kind of flat right now. It's actually below the 50 daily moving average, which is a sign of weakness. This shows that the market is still on an uptrend, so it's favoring the bulls again. Now let's break down some levels. If we're bearish on SPY, you want to see this thing lose 490, 489, and eventually 488 is our next level. We also have an imbalance to be watching for around 488.9. So those are some like very important levels if we lose 490. If we're bullish, we want to break 491.5. If we break that, there's going to be 492.5 coming. And if we break above that, we have this zone to be watching for at 494 to 495. What do I think SPY is going to do? Looking at the current breakout, it's going to depend on the data. But like I said, we had this cup and handle like formation. It's ended up playing out very nicely. And with that playing out, with this breakout, we're going to be watching to see if we could break out higher. I think that we're going to break out higher. I think 492.5 is coming. So I still see some more upside potential. For Tesla stock, Tesla, in my opinion, is looking kind of bullish. Going to be looking for a push even higher. I think that Tesla's going to be making its way up to at least 195 very soon. We have an imbalance up there. And if we break that, we could get very close to 200 all over again. Also, Tesla has this big gap over here from earnings. It might make an attempt to fill the gap. So watch and see if Tesla could bounce and start pushing to at least 195. That's going to be very important to watch for. I think Tesla has potential to push up to 195. I think the chart looks more bullish. A nice accumulation has formed. Tesla is favoring the bulls. Just in case, if we want to turn bearish, you want to see Tesla basically lose this channel right over here. If we lose 190, 188 is our next target, 187.5 and then 186. If we lose 186, I can see it coming down to 184. But I don't really think it's going to drop like that. I think the odds favor the upside. So 195 is our target, 197, then eventually 200. Tesla is favoring the bulls right now. What about on the QQQ? If we're bearish on the QQQ, you want to see this thing lose 427. If we lose that, we're going to be watching this breakout area at 426.1. If we lose that, 425 is next. But what if we're bullish? Watch 429. If we break that, the all-time high near 430 is going to be tested up here. And if we break that, every dollar has been resistance. So our next target is like 431, 432, all the way up there. I think 432 would be our next main level once we get above 431 if we do break above 430. So watch those levels. But here's how I see this panning out. If we're bullish, we want to break 429. If we break this, our next target is basically just under 430. And if we break above that, we're going to be pushing very much even more, closer to like 432. If we're bearish, we want to see it break down, but I think the odds favor the bulls. So we're going to be looking for a nice push to the upside. For Nvidia, I'd say that Nvidia is looking kind of bullish. We actually just broke our high again in the after hours with a nice bullish breakout move. And then we basically have another price target of about 637 to be watching for. If that breaks, I think our next target is going to be 640. So it's pretty insane. Nvidia is not done quite yet. It's still trying to squeeze these shorts. And there's no sign of this thing stopping just yet. So we're going to be watching to see how well Nvidia could do here. Watch support at 628. If we lose that, then the breakout area down here could be tested. So like right here, 620 would be our next target if we lose 628. I don't think it's going to lose that though. It's favoring the bulls. It might come down to grab liquidity in the high 620s before it bounces and start pushing up higher. But I think that eventually I see this thing pushing towards 640. What about for Aapl? Aapl, in my opinion, it grabbed liquidity down here. It's a little bit weaker than the market, but it's showing some life. So we're going to be watching resistance at 192. If we break that, there's 192.5, then 193.5. If we're bearish, we want to be breaking down towards 190.5. If we lose that, then 189 is coming. So I think that Apple's looking bullish, going to be looking for a breakout above 192, and I think there's a very good chance we're going to push higher. So we'll be watching that very, very carefully. But if anything, I'd say Aapl favors the bulls, so I'll be watching that carefully. Right now, the setup is still looking not too bad. On the daily time frame, we have a bullish looking daily candlestick for Rivian. Going to be looking for a nice breakout. We broke 16. 16.8 is our next target, and 17.44. Rivian is looking a bit more bullish. SoFi, in my opinion, we got a very, very bullish earnings report. Nice gap to the upside and push. I think this thing has this gap to fill up here. It has a couple of gaps as it approaches $10. I think it's not done yet. $10 should be coming very soon. For the Russell 2000 or the IWM, I think that we're going to be watching 200 as resistance. We're about to get a bullish cross in the daily PPO. If we get that, watch 202, then 205 is resistance. I think the IWM is going to achieve that. For Microsoft, well, Microsoft might try to push towards at least 410 plus, eventually getting up to about 415. But then it all depends on earnings, so I can't really say too much about this. It has earnings after market close tomorrow, so we'll see if earnings help this thing push up towards much higher levels or not. So I'll be watching that very, very carefully. For AMD, AMD is kind of indecisive, trying to push up a little higher. we might see this thing try to get back to this wick around this 180 area. So it might push a little bit and then trade sideways. Watch and see if AMD could achieve that. On top of that, when it comes to SPX is looking bullish, going to be looking for this thing to approach 5,000 soon. Not just 5,000, but I would say like 4250 first before that, but there's still more upside potential. The VIX got a big rejection, a big spike in rejection. Might continue lower towards 13.28 and even lower levels like that. Still looks a little bearish. SQQQ on the daily looking a little bit bearish. Going to be looking for 11.6 to be tested. The dollar index still kind of flat right now, a little bit indecisive. If we're a little bit bearish looking, this could change things, but it's too indecisive for me to determine much. Coinbase looks like it could push a little bit more. Watch for 135 as resistance. If we break this, we could be pushing all the way back up towards where this wick is at 143. But the trend is looking a bit more in favor of the bulls. For now, it is favoring them, so we'll just see how that goes. Google on the daily is looking bullish. Going to be looking for a breakout towards 155. If we break that, our next target is 157 and eventually 160. Google is still looking bullish in my opinion. For Amazon to me is looking a little bullish. Watch for 162.5. If we break that, we could be pushing up to higher levels like the mid 160s. For now, we're still looking a little bit more bullish. For Meta, we're favoring the bulls a bit more. We want to see this thing basically push up very nicely, get to 402. If we manage to break that, we're going to be looking for a nice push for 405 plus. So that being said, the market's looking bullish for the most part. Some stocks are a little indecisive, but don't forget we have big earnings tomorrow, and we're going to be looking for more potential buyers to step in tomorrow. Don't forget, big earnings are coming out. We'll have to see how things go. But right now, these charts are favoring the bulls. So please remain calm, cool, and collected, guys. Do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for listening, and peace out.